Hello, welcome to another episode of Arthritis and You, A Joint Journey. Today, we've got something special lined up, so buckle up because it's time for the deep dive. Let's give a warm welcome to our hosts, Arthur and Sarah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we are taking on a question that we've heard from many of you.
Oh, yeah.
Can osteoarthritis be cured?
Right.
So to really unpack this one, we've got some great resources from Alberta Rheumatology.
Excellent.
We are looking at a video titled, Ask the Rheumatologist, Is There a Cure for Osteoarthritis? And then also just some information from their webpage, just on osteoarthritis in general.
Yeah, it's a big question, and I think it's one that a lot of people are thinking about, especially when you consider just how common osteoarthritis is.
Yeah.
It affects like 10 to 15% of people, and, primarily as we get older.
Right, which, let's face it, is all of us eventually.
Exactly.
But before we get to, the cure or lack thereof or, how to manage this, maybe let's just take a step back. What's actually happening in our joints when we're talking about osteoarthritis?
Yeah. So osteoarthritis is often called a wear and tear disease. And, that's kind of a simplification, but it kind of helps to picture it, right? So basically, that smooth cartilage that cushions our joints, that starts to break down. And without it, you've got bone rubbing on bone.
Ouch.
Yeah, not exactly a recipe for comfortable movement.
No, definitely not. So I can see why people are looking for a cure, which brings us, I guess, to the big reveal from the video. Is there one?
Well, the video is pretty upfront about that, and unfortunately, no. Right now, there isn't a way to reverse the cartilage breakdown that's already happened.
Okay, I can already hear the air going out of the balloon for some of our listeners.
Yeah.
But hold on. There's a but coming. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. While a cure remains elusive, effective management is entirely possible.
Okay.
And that's where I think things start to get a little bit interesting, because it's not just about masking pain. It's about reclaiming your life.
Okay, so less about throwing in the towel and more about, strategizing.
Exactly. We're talking about two main goals. One, reducing pain, of course, but also, just as importantly, improving how you function, day to day.
So, if the goal is, I want to be able to, get out for walks with my dog, or I want to be able to garden, or just go up and down the stairs without wincing.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for.
Precisely. And to get to those goals, we have a whole toolbox of strategies. Some don't involve medication at all.
Lay it on me. What are these non-medication options?
So weight management.
Okay.
Huge, right? Less weight means less stress on those already achy joints. The video also mentions braces or splints for support, walking aids if needed, and, perhaps surprisingly to some, exercise.
Hold on. Exercise. I think I heard a collective groan out there.
I know.
From everyone who's like, wait, move more. That just equals more pain.
Right, but hear me out. Think of it this way. Strong muscles around a joint act like a support system.
Oh, okay.
They take some of the burden off that cartilage that's not doing so hot.
So we're not talking marathon training here, but more just building up those muscles so that they can actually, do their job better.
Exactly. Exactly. And a good physiotherapist can actually tailor a program to your needs. Plus, the video highlights water therapy, so swimming or aqua aerobics, because the buoyancy takes the pressure off while you move.
So it's like getting a workout without gravity, constantly reminding you of hey, you have joints.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Genius. Okay. What else? What else is on the non-medication menu?
Don't forget about heat and cold therapy. Sometimes the simple things like a hot bath or an ice pack can make a world of difference.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so there's a lot we can do without even touching a pill bottle. But I know for some people, medication does become necessary.
Right.
So, what's the rundown on pain relief options out there?
Well, the video starts with over-the-counter medications, things that you're probably already familiar with.
Okay.
Acetaminophen, so that's Tylenol, ibuprofen, Advil, and naproxen or Liv.
Right, the trusty standbys.
Exactly.
But, when those aren't enough, there are prescription options too, right?
Yes. So stronger pain relievers are a possibility. And then there's also things like joint injections, which can provide much longer lasting relief, sometimes for months or even years.
Years. Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing these are not DIY solutions.
Definitely not. This is where working closely with your doctor is essential. They can assess your individual needs, recommend the right approach, make sure you're using medication safely and effectively. But there's more to these injections than just like pain relief, right?
Yeah. Oh, intriguing. What else should we know about them?
Well, there are different types, each with kind of a unique way of tackling the problem. So some use corticosteroids to reduce inflammation.
Okay.
Others use hyaluronic acid, which acts like a lubricant within the joint.
It's like giving your joints a tune-up.
Yeah, exactly.
Suddenly, injections seem a lot less scary
Yeah.
and a lot more interesting.
Yeah, the key is understanding what each type does and why it might be a good fit for you. But, this brings up an important question for those listening. How do you know which of these options is the right starting point?
Right. Right, because it's like we've got this whole menu of possibilities, but like figuring out your order, that's where like expertise comes in. And I'm guessing that's where like our rheumatology's other resources, that's where they come into play.
Absolutely. They go beyond the basics, offering insights you might not find elsewhere. For instance, their website has a whole section on natural health products,
Oh, okay.
which many people with osteoarthritis are interested in.
So we're talking things like supplements and herbal remedies and all that.
Exactly.
It's great that they're addressing that because I know so many people are curious about those kinds of options.
And let's not forget their Ask a Question feature, that provides direct access to rheumatologists. Imagine having like a burning question about osteoarthritis and being able to get a personalized answer from an expert.
That's amazing. It's like having a direct line to like the folks who live and breathe osteoarthritis. But before we dive into those resources, I think we need to address kind of the elephant in the room, which is like, what happens when none of these strategies quite cut it?
Right. Well, that's when the conversation might shift to joint replacement surgery.
Like the big guns, as they say.
Yeah, it is a serious procedure, typically reserved for cases where pain is uncontrolled, despite trying other management techniques.
Okay.
And your ability to function is really limited. It's not a first-line treatment by any means. And it does come with its own set of considerations.
So it's a big decision.
Yeah.
Not to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
But knowing it's there as an option, that can offer a sense of hope, right?
Absolutely. And it's crucial to remember that we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
Alberta Rheumatology's resources delve much deeper into the nuances of each treatment option.
Well, it sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. Listeners, stick with us as we continue this deep dive, exploring the Alberta Rheumatology website and even tackling some real questions from their Ask a Question feature. We'll be back in a flash. All right, so we're back and ready to continue our deep dive into osteoarthritis using all this great info from Alberta Rheumatology.
Yeah.
Before the break, we were talking about their Ask a Question feature on their website.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious, what kind of questions are people asking?
Yeah.
But to me, that kind of gives us some clues about what folks are really struggling with when it comes to this condition.
That's a great point. These are real questions from real people facing this condition. It's like a window into the everyday challenges of living with osteoarthritis.
Exactly. So I took a peek at some of the questions that have been submitted.
Okay.
And one that caught my eye was about exercise. Someone was asking, is exercise beneficial even if it causes me some pain? Which is the age-old question. Do I push through the pain or do I listen to my body?
Right. Right. It's something so many people with osteoarthritis grapple with.
For sure.
And the answer, as you might expect, isn't a simple yes or no.
Okay. So no easy answers, but hopefully some helpful guidance from the source material.
Absolutely. Well, the video really emphasizes the importance of working with a qualified physiotherapist.
Okay.
Someone who can assess your individual situation. So taking into account your pain levels, any limitations you might have, and your overall health. And the goal is to find that balance, pushing yourself enough to strengthen those muscles and improve joint function, but not so much that you're exacerbating pain and risking further injury.
Right. So it's how do I find that sweet spot where I'm challenging myself, but not overdoing it?
Exactly. Exactly. And the website actually offers some specific exercise recommendations tailored to different joints and levels of ability. So, for example, for knee osteoarthritis, they suggest low-impact activities like walking, swimming, or cycling, things that put less stress on the joint.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I noticed that they also mention Tai Chi and yoga as potentially helpful practices. Is there anything in the source material about why those might be beneficial?
Yes. They highlight the kind of gentle, flowing movements of Tai Chi and yoga as being particularly good for improving flexibility, balance, and range of motion. And these are all really crucial for managing osteoarthritis.
It's interesting because, I think we often think of exercise as purely physical,
Right.
but these practices also kind of incorporate that mindfulness and relaxation aspect.
Exactly. And the website actually touches on the mind-body connection,
Oh, okay.
suggesting that stress and anxiety can actually exacerbate pain perception. So, incorporating practices that address both the physical and mental aspects of osteoarthritis can be incredibly beneficial.
Yeah. It's like taking that holistic approach. You're treating like the whole person, not just the symptoms.
Exactly. And another question that popped up a lot in the Ask a Question feature was about alternative therapies. So, people wanting to know, are things like acupuncture or massage worth trying?
So I'm guessing that's where the info on like natural health products comes in.
Yeah. The website dedicates a whole section to this topic, acknowledging, the growing interest in these alternative approaches. And they emphasize that while research on some therapies is still emerging, there's evidence to suggest that certain practices can provide pain relief and improve quality of life for some individuals.
Okay. So it's not a case of dismissing these therapies outright, but more about like being informed and realistic about their potential benefits.
Exactly. And they stress the importance of discussing any alternative therapies with your doctor, especially if you're considering combining them with more conventional treatments.
Right. Good point. It's all about that, like open communication and working together with your healthcare team to find like the best approach.
Absolutely. And one more interesting question from the Ask a Question section dealt with the long-term outlook. So somebody asked, does osteoarthritis inevitably lead to disability?
Oh, wow. That's a question that probably weighs heavily on a lot of minds.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're diagnosed with this condition, it's natural to wonder, like, what does my future hold?
Yeah, for sure. And while it's true that osteoarthritis is a progressive disease, meaning it can worsen over time, the rate and severity of progression varies greatly from person to person.
So it's not like this guaranteed downward spiral for everyone.
Not at all. And the source material emphasizes that many people with osteoarthritis can live full and active lives for many years,
Okay.
especially if they take proactive steps to manage their condition.
So it's about like taking control, empowering yourself, and not letting the diagnosis kind of dictate your future.
Precisely. And one of the key messages that resonates throughout both the video and the website is this idea of early intervention.
Okay, so like the sooner you address the condition, the better your chances of like slowing its progression.
Yes.
And maintaining your quality of life.
Absolutely. It's about catching it early. Implementing those lifestyle modifications we talked about earlier, so weight management, exercise, joint protection, and working closely with your healthcare team to develop a personalized management plan.
It's all about being proactive, taking charge of your health, not just waiting for things to like get worse.
Exactly. And the website offers a wealth of information on how to do just that, from specific exercise recommendations to tips on protecting your joints during everyday activities.
It's like they're giving you like a roadmap to navigate this condition.
Right.
And make informed decisions about your health.
Exactly. And they also highlight the importance of staying informed about new research and advancements in treatment options.
Right.
Osteoarthritis research is constantly evolving, and, there's always hope for new breakthroughs.
Yeah, that's such an important message of hope,
Yeah.
especially for those who might be feeling like discouraged by the no cure reality.
Right. Absolutely. It's about staying positive, engaged, and connected to the latest developments in osteoarthritis management.
Yeah. It's like they're saying, okay, there's no cure yet, but we're not giving up. We're fighting this together.
Right.
And we're going to find ways to live our best lives, even with osteoarthritis.
Right.
Which is, it's inspiring, really.
It is. And I think that's a great segue to the next part of our deep dive. We've explored the basics of osteoarthritis. We delved into the Ask a Question feature. And now it's time to take a closer look at what makes Alberta Rheumatology's resources so unique and so valuable.
Okay, yeah. They're clearly like going above and beyond to provide like this comprehensive, accessible information and support for people living with osteoarthritis. All right, well, we'll be right back. We're going to explore their website in more detail after a quick break. Okay, so we are back, and now it's time to like roll up our sleeves and really get into like the nuts and bolts of what Alberta Rheumatology offers.
Right.
I mean, we've mentioned their website a few times.
Right.
But I think it really deserves its own spotlight.
I think so too. It's really more than just like a static page. It's really like a dynamic hub of information and resources and even community.
Okay, color me intrigued. What makes it so special?
Well, first off, it's incredibly user-friendly. You don't need a medical degree to navigate it. They've done a fantastic job of presenting complex information in a way that is clear, concise, and frankly, engaging.
Okay, so like no getting lost in a maze of jargon and technical terms.
Not at all. They use plain language, visuals, and they even have interactive tools to make the information really easy to digest.
I love that. It's all about making, knowledge accessible.
Yeah.
And empowering people to like take charge of their health.
Absolutely. And they go beyond the basics, offering in-depth articles, FAQs, and, even personal stories from people living with osteoarthritis.
Oh, yeah. Those personal stories can be so powerful because it's one thing to read about a condition, but it's another to hear from someone who's like actually going through it.
Right. It adds that human touch, that sense of shared experience, which can be incredibly comforting and validating for people who might be feeling isolated or, just overwhelmed by this.
Right. And speaking of connection, they also have a section on like support groups, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They actually provide a directory of both local and online support groups, recognizing the importance of community and connecting with others who really get what you're going through.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they thought of everything.
I know.
They're not just addressing the physical aspects of osteoarthritis, but also like the emotional and social impact.
For sure. Yeah, they have resources on coping with pain, managing stress, and even tips on like how to talk to your loved ones about your condition. It's a truly holistic approach.
I love that. Okay. And let's not forget about like the video library that they have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've been focusing on the Ask the Rheumatologist video, but they have a whole collection.
They do.
Covering a range of topics.
From exercise demonstrations to expert interviews. They're really using that multimedia to make the information even more accessible and engaging.
Yeah, it's like having a personalized health education channel right at your fingertips.
Totally.
And I think you mentioned this earlier, but for those who prefer like audio, they even have a podcast.
They do, which is great. It's like, they're meeting people where they are, providing information in a variety of formats to cater to different learning styles.
Exactly. They're making it like easy to stay informed and engaged no matter like how you prefer to consume information.
Right.
Well, it sounds like Alberta Rheumatology is like setting the gold standard for like patient education and support.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring to see an organization so dedicated to like empowering people with the knowledge and resources they need to like navigate this condition.
Yeah, it really is a testament to their commitment to improving the lives of people living with osteoarthritis. So, they're not just treating a disease, they're really supporting people on their journey.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. So to all of our listeners out there, who are dealing with osteoarthritis themselves, or maybe, someone who is, just remember that you're not alone. Alberta Rheumatology is like this beacon of hope.
Yeah.
Offering, a wealth of information and resources and support to really guide you on your path.
And even though we've reached the end of our deep dive, your exploration definitely doesn't have to stop here. Head over to their website, check out those videos, listen to their podcast, and most importantly, connect with your healthcare provider to talk about your individual needs and develop that personalized management plan.
I love that. It's about taking that first step and then the next and then the next. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have the power to like seek them out.
Yeah.
And advocate for your own well-being.
Absolutely. And remember, even small changes can make a really big difference, whether it's incorporating a new exercise into your routine or trying a different pain management technique or even just, connecting with other people who understand what you're going through. Every step you take is a step towards a healthier, happier you.
Beautifully said. We'll leave you with this final thought. Knowledge is power. And with the right information and support, you can navigate those challenges of osteoarthritis and live a full and meaningful life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
This has been another episode of Arthritis and You, A Joint Journey, brought to you by the Rheum team from albertarheumatology.com, your trusted evidence-based suite of resources available 24/7. Straight from Alberta, but for folks around the world. Our hosts today, Arthritis and Sarah Upis. Technical producer, John Ifan. and our executive producer, Stephen Cates. While we work hard to maintain the accuracy of our information, we accept no legal responsibility for any errors or omissions. Remember, always check with your own physician first. Join us next time for another Deep Dive!